Breaking news. They're coming for the kids. We're coming for them! Sisters broken badges flashing in the night. Knock down doors, no warrant, no right. Take the children, tear the families apart. Hide behind protection while you rip out the heart. Files fabricated, lies on the stand. Judges in their pocket, money changing hands. Parents screaming, cameras never show. The real abuse happens when the CPS shows. Scott ever standing, fighting Tennessee DCS. For separation, they tore the family from his chest. Placed on a registry, no charges, no crime. Blount County DCS crossing every line. Evers versus the state, lawsuit in federal court. Exposing the corruption, tearing that system apart. Years of battle, justice delayed, but not denied. A father's resolve with truth on his side. No mercy, no justice, just power unchecked. We expose the corruption, put them under the rack. Done it for CPS. We won't stop, we won't rest. Breaking news every day. Truth cuts like a blade. Done it for CPS. Your empire's gonna fall. We fight for the families. We fight for the free. CPS. Your time is over. You'll see. Another case buried, another life destroyed. Numbers manipulated, stories over deployed. They call it protection, we call it abduction. State-sponsored kidnapping, legal corruption. Parents labeled unfit for daring to speak. Question the system and they label you weak. We document every raid, every lie, every theft. The resistance is growing, no more silent regret. No mercy, no justice, just power unchecked. We expose the corruption, put them under the rack. Got it for CPS. We won't stop, we won't rest. Breaking news every day. Truth cuts like a blade. Got it for CPS. Your empire's gonna fade. We fight for the families. We fight for the free. CPS. Your time is over. You'll see. You took the innocent. You destroyed the home. Now the people are waking. And we're coming for your throne. No more silence. No more fear. The revolution starts right here. Got it for CPS. We won't stop, we won't rest. Breaking news every single day. Got it for CPS. Your kingdom's gonna break for every parent, for every child set free. CPS, we're gunning for thee. This is the podcast, Gunning for CPS, hosted by Scott Evers. Relentless in his fight, Evers versus Tennessee DCS. A father who refuses to yield, exposing every injustice, demanding accountability, reclaiming what was taken. The battle continues. Stay vigilant. The truth is our weapon. This is the reckoning. Blount County CPS. Your time has come! Gunner Evers rising, shadow in the fight. Blount County CPS stealing children in the night. No warrant, no warning, they crossed every line. Took his child away, tried to bury the crime. Fabricated files, twisted every truth. Placed them on a registry with no proof. Federal court now watching every move they make. The system is shaking, the foundation starts to break. No more hiding, no more lies. The truth is coming, hear the battle cry. This is the reckoning. Gunner Evers bringing the pain. Blount County CPS, your empire's in flames. The reckoning. Justice finally calls your name. For every family broken, for every child torn away. The reckoning is here. There's hell to pay. There's hell to pay. Evers versus Blount lawsuit cutting deep, exposing corruption, secrets they can't keep. Years of separation, heart ripped from his chest. Yet he stands unbreakable, refusing to rest. No charges filed, but they branded him a threat. Now the court is watching, collecting their debt. Blount County, DC, yes, your days are numbered fast. The father's fight is real, this reckoning will last. No more hiding, no more lies. The truth is coming. Hear the battle cry. This is the reckoning. Gunner Evers bringing the pain. Blount County CPS, your empire's in flames. The reckoning. Justice finally calls your name. For every family broken, for every child torn away. The reckoning is here. There's hell to pay. There's hell to pay. You came for the innocent. You destroyed the home. Now the reckoning rises, and you stand alone. Alone, 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 alone. No mercy, no escape. The people are awake. This is the reckoning. Gunner Evers leads the fight. Blount County CPS, vanishing from sight. The reckoning. The walls are crashing down tonight. For every parent watching, for every stolen child. The reckoning is here, and we're running wild. Gunner Evers, still standing strong. Blount County CPS. The reckoning has only just begun. Truth is the weapon. Justice will be gone.
I'm gonna pull the whole thing down. I'm gonna bring the whole fucking diseased, corrupt temple down on your head. It's gotta be biblical.
What the? Wow. Who are we going to piss off today with our knowledge and education? Glad you answered the door. Once again, this is one of the things that is the biggest mistake when dealing with CPS is don't answer the door, whether they do anything else. Great. Great to have you guys this evening. I'm your host, Gunner. This is Gunning for CPS. And sorry, I'm a little tired with everything. I've been hard at my case, been hard at constitutional questions. There's a lot of things change when you go into the federal rules of civil procedure. And there's a lot of people that deal with, hey, I'm going to sue them in their official capacity and not and their personal capacity. And the judge, before they do anything, say the judge dismisses that part of your case or shaves your case. Once again, the judge can't do that. Now you're favoring the defense. Now, there is a federal rule of civil procedure, which is 54B, that you have to look at, of basically saying, hey, you can't do that, or at the same time, enter final judgment on this stuff, because once again, it's open. Enter a final judgment on this. Why? Because if you enter the final judgment on it, that opens you up to, this gives you, it's one of the ways, I should say, to give you a gateway into the Supreme Court. In other words, the highest court or the appeals court, because then you appeal it. And then there's certain things that you can do that particular way. So as we're going through these things, you got to follow through things. Sometimes you have to be smart, and you have to kind of let the judge know, hey, I'm not a fucking idiot. Well, you're pro se. You don't know. Oh, no. You got the wrong guy. Let me show you why. Because now there's going to be constitutional question number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 8 constitutional questions that the federal court must answer before we can proceed, before there's even a trial. And if the judge doesn't deal with them, or I don't like the answer, guess what? Right to the Supreme Court. But once again, they're written a little bit different, and they're done a different way. And like I said, you got to follow some certain things. And then, like I said, then you can escalate with, like I said, writs. There's different writs that you can file. There's a mandamus you can file. It depends on what fits for the situation. So look those up if you're going into federal court. And as I tell everybody, write your case, the structure of your case of saying, well, ChatGPT, no, hell to the no. Do you do that? Go find a case that was won, that had a writ to the Supreme Court, and follow that. Or if you're doing the federal, once again, division. Remember, everybody says, well, I'm in federal district. No, you're in division court is what you're in. We talked about this structure in previous, I think I did a whole video on TikTok of how the structures are. And I think we covered a little bit on the last show. But you're dealing with these particular things that a lot of people don't understand. Well, the first constitutional question is under the 10th Amendment. And this is why this is so powerful. And you guys need to really get a hold of this and share this with everybody. And if you guys are commenting on TikTok, Facebook, this and that, for some reason, it is not coming up in my comments that you'll see over the side. Hey, my comments ain't coming up. Jump on YouTube, go to the Gunning for CPS channel. You'll find it's not hard. Just put it in there, follow the page. It will actually notify you every time we have a live show. So keep that in mind. So it's like, oh, I forgot about your show. No, if you turn on your notifications, especially for YouTube and stuff, yes, it will let you know when I'm going live. And we do lives on, I said do. We have a little fun too. The fact that, all this stuff is a particular way, but like I said, sometimes you do a bunch of work and then you look at it, you do a little bit more research. You're like, hey, I got it. And then all of a sudden you read something and go, oh, no, I don't got it. Why? Because it's a pitfall. And you got to do your research in those things. What worked? What didn't? What were the circumstances? And once again, if you can parallel those circumstances, that's a huge thing. And I was hoping we're going to try and shoot for next week, guys. We had some technical things and other things. Excuse me. But if the producer is going to join me next week, we're going to try and get something out there, a big advertisement or something like that, that next week we are shooting for having people live on the show. So if you want to be a guest, we're not going to go through things. It's a quick one question that you've got. The most important question you got, we'll answer it. We'll move on to the next person. So keep it in. That means don't tell me your whole case. Let's have a conversation a little bit of saying, hey, this is my question. And I'm going to say, okay, what are some of the small particulars? We're on a time limit. And then get some of you guys' questions actually answered of what it means and what this other stuff means. These constitutional questions are automatically applied to all 50 states once they're answered. They just can't. And like I said, if we have to, we can escalate them up to the Supreme Court, because unless you're part of the case, then you would have to turn around and I have an option if I don't like the judgment to file an appeal, and then so does the defense, and they can write, no, we don't agree with this. This is this and that, or this has been the way it is, and this and that. Once again, that's one part of it. Now, once these constitutional questions are filed, 1 through 8, yes, we will be releasing them. So if you don't follow me on Facebook, it's going to, because there's no way really to do it and let you guys see it on TikTok or some of the other platforms. Follow me on Facebook. It's under Gunner Evers, or under the show Gunning 4, the number 4 CPS. Some people, I couldn't find you. Well, it's under the number 4. But yeah, I mean, my following has greatly followed. People are paying attention. They're really, grasping a hold of, oh crap. And then I had somebody reach out to me today that was just, hey, join over this movement and we're going to do this. And I'm like, you don't even understand what I'm doing. Why would I join you part of this particular, well, we'll say movement? It's like, listen, you do you, I'll do me. And it's just kind of like one of those things of just saying, you can't comprehend what I'm doing. Number one. Number two, I'm not going to reveal all of it to somebody that's in a group or anything else. Why? Because that takes away my power of strategy in my own damn case. I mean, how foolish do you have to be or uneducated to understand that? And I've gone over this several times with people, well, join this movement with Meg, or do this with this, or this particular day. But listen, they know what's going on. And I'm not doing that. I'm standing over here. I'm going to stand with you, we the people, and we're going to make this stand. It's not about begging for anything. We're going in demanding. This is how you take CPS out of saying they have been doing illegal stuff. In other words, it's so criminal that they have to, once again, fraud and everything else, or they never had jurisdiction. It means they have to overturn everything. Now, they can go through, and once again, other states, well, we're going to appeal this or that, and you're not part of the case. Even though the case affects you, good luck filing it. Why? Because we'll take it all the way to the Supreme Court, because we're in line with SCOTUS. It really helps you guys. I'm telling you, you need to read those books. Clarence Thomas has published several, Scalia, several of those others. Read those books and see how it fits into your case. The same thing with the Federalist Papers and the Anti-Federalist Papers. Get the full spectrum to make your argument. But there's a lot of people out there that just don't listen or follow what little bit of information I get, and then they run off. Well, I tried to do it this way and I've done this, and then they've kicked it back. Okay, did you go down and look at what a solution for her was? Because the judge did something that don't feel right. Usually if you feel something that they're doing is, well, that ain't right, or you did me wrong, then point it out. Do the research of why they're out, notify the court. And if it's something that bad, those are what the writs are for, or the mandamus is for, or a motion to reconsider, all these other things, these tools that are in your toolbox. But you got to remember to use the right tool. Once again, you don't use the wrong tool. I mean, this is so basic when I talk about using the right tool. I remember my kids growing up and watching Disney and Mickey Mouse Club and Toodles, the little thing that was like the storage box. Hey, we have all these things, teaching little kids. Will this work? No. Will this work? No. But this will work. Yes, that'll work. It's deductive reasoning. It's not that hard. And also Thomas Paine's Common Sense. Dear God, please read it. Seriously, read it. And like I said, this is going to help you. And I'm trying to simplify it, like for those that take and understand, or whatever it is, we're going to put it out there. But once you see these constitutional questions, and some of them are, they're not like 1 or 2 pages. Some of them are, 5, 10, and we've got others that are 30, 40 pages, all this stuff. It's huge. And it's not a joke, because these are turned around and saying, listen, if you don't want to do it, here, make a final ruling on this, because now, please, I want you to have that final ruling. That's why we're pushing the judge to have under that rule I was telling you about, 54B, to turn around, make it final. Because then I go into the Supreme Court. See, there's ways of doing this. You set a trap. Let the judge, bing, or whoever it may be, walk right into it. Give them enough rope to hang themselves. This is true. They're not absolute. Once again, they're human. And, they make mistakes, errors, and some of the other things. Like what we said. hey, we're going to shave this. So you can't sue them in their official capacity. We're going to shave that stuff off. Well, the defense never asked for it, Your Honor. Now you're playing their lawyer. You get where I'm going? Hey, you need to hold on, pump the brakes there. We got a problem. Make that your final ruling. Oh, by the way, here's some more constitutional questions. You want to keep going? Because I'll do this all day. And I'll hammer this out to make you do them. And if I don't like the answer, I will go to the appeals court. They will give it a de novo review. And all of a sudden, everything's going to, no, why? Because everybody that's looked at anything else, even the first one, I'm going, he's not wrong. What are we going to do? That's why all your states are flipping out, and some of them are making money, because all of your attorney generals know this. And as soon as these constitutional questions are filed, yes, I have to mail out a copy, which is required under the federal rules of civil procedure. Mail those out to my personal state's attorney and to Washington, to the U.S. Attorney's Office, the head of the U.S. Attorney's Office, so they can pay attention and wait for the ruling, because it's going to affect, and everybody's like, well, what does that mean? Because it affects how they're going to prosecute somebody criminally as well as or civilly. They're going to pay mainly criminally. Why is this so important? Because this means you've been breaking the law, and these are not sweep under the rug shit. You're talking billions and trillions of dollars of money they've stolen. It's not a joke. And the more of you guys that know this, and then you come behind, like I said, with some of yours going, hey, I'm going to ask the same question. I'm going to copy and paste this right over, and then I'm going to file it in my case. And, screw you. I'll get it all across the United States filing some of this stuff. And like I said, as long as it's pertinent to your case. But you're going to see a lot of stuff that's in those filings of going, oh, crap, I didn't know that. Yeah. And it's going to give you case law, and it's going to give you canons, and it's going to give you judicial canons and constitutional canons and this and that. And just really, really give you an open your eyes of going, wow, Gunner, I didn't know it was that bad. But I see some of you guys out there. Hello, Natasha. And the letters and numbers with it. And then Panda Baby Girl there. Hello. Ryan Martin. Hello. Gunnar, how's it going tonight, brother? Happy I got to join the Punisher and Tiff when did love do it again. Learning 100 times more. Yes. We our whole platform here is under the and if you'll forgive me, that's a cardiac cough. I have congestive heart failure. If you follow the show, I have less than 10% of my heart. I've just recently been put onto where I can't work anymore, disabled, 100%. Well, that was weird. And recognized by the federal government. So what does that mean? I have my disability approved. So it's one of those things of I can't. I'm doing this as the best I can, and I chop away at it. And some of these things I've been working on for weeks or months, the amount of research to do these constitutional questions is sometimes very overwhelming. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. That besides just your case, understanding the meat and potatoes of my main case, that these people in Tennessee have done me explicitly wrong and illegal and even breaking their own state's constitution, criminal actions, is open and shut. It's clear and convincing. And if you want, you can go on Pacer, look at those, understanding there's two filings. Okay, this is so you guys don't get confused. There's two filings. One we filed, I filed with my previous wife in 2025. When we did that, they extremely retaliated and snatched her kids, lied on things, and that even goes even more of messing with my witness. But at the same time, they put my name on the paper, so that's where that other state screwed up. So eventually, once we get some more discovery and this and that, yeah, we will be adding at least one more state and several other actors. Some of those people, depending on how we add it and how we structure those anymore, could really determine who we add and how we add them, because that's what those constitutional questions need to be answered before anything's adjudicated. Like I said, before we move forward, we got to have these questions answered. And that's going to make a world of difference because it just means they go into deeper, deeper, deeper trouble. And then you look at a criminal aspect of saying, now I'm going to take all this stuff here, here, and here, and I'm going to turn it over to the U.S. Attorney's Office with this because now they're watching the case anyway, but making an official report to the DOJ and not really the U.S. Attorney's Office really of saying, yes, I want them prosecuted for criminal action, but at the same time, we haven't even had court yet, and there's a lot that's going to come out during the hearing. Everybody goes, well, Gunnar, they're going to do this. No, my case has already survived the shaving. If they had their chance to dismiss, that window's closed. Now, the defense may come up with some bullshit. At the same time, you're just going to laugh because the evidence is so overwhelming. Their arguments are moot. But like I said, we've got a lot of things to cover. They're just like, they underestimate people, especially people like me that, and everybody's like, well, Gunnar, how'd you pick up? I was a business owner. I had to learn the rules of civil procedure for my state because I owned a business. I had to fall within them because if I ever had an issue, if I was sued or I had to sue somebody else as a business owner, you got to know what the rules are. So that's just one of those things that you just turn around. And like I said, when I did go to civil court on cases, I've never lost a case. I basically told my attorney, who I had to retain because you can't represent yourself as a business owner. It just turns around and just says, here, do this. Why? Because who knows anything better than me? It's my business. Here, ask these questions. Here, do this. Here's evidence of this. And it was a walk in the park. I mean, he added a few things here and there. It was kind of like, dude, this is really kind of a joke. I could do this myself, but those damn rules of procedure, civil procedure, kind of suck because it says because it's business owned, you have to have an attorney. Once again, you got to follow those things, and that's one thing. Like I said, going forward or this or that, and like I said, when you have things, if it goes outside the state. And then you're saying, hey, they did something wrong and they used the local courts or this, that, but some of your defendants are in other states. It's automatic federal. Why? Because somebody's, once again, out of the state. Now, we've got a couple different things that we're going to share here. We got a couple of videos for you guys. And this is talking, like I said, if you don't follow this guy, it's like the 10th Amendment Academy or network or whatever, this guy that does all these things. He's on multiple platforms. Great reference point. He does a lot of research, a lot of history. I definitely recommend that because all of a sudden he may cover something and go, wait a minute, that affects me. Exactly. But here, check this out.
Jefferson warned us, just because it's legal doesn't mean it's constitutional, moral, or just. Law is often but the tyrant's will, and always so when it violates the rights of an individual. Thomas Jefferson.
There it is. Talking about Thomas Jefferson. Now, we've talked about before how CPS, there's a cycle to CPS. 83% failure rate over, I'm sure that's what they're reporting, is 83 by their internal numbers of cases where they never should have gotten involved with the family whatsoever. But they understand that what they do is they do so much fucking damage. And there's even other people that, have told me, says, listen, man, I've had this, it's dismissed. Then they come back after me again and it's dismissed. And I says, are you talking to your attorney general of, communicating with the right places, the right people, saying this is harassment? You've lost this many times and you're still coming in and you want them investigated? Well, no, I didn't think about that. Might be a good idea. But we've talked about that cycle to where, young girls at the age of 16, the pregnancy rate goes through the damn roof. They get out, they're in and out of trouble with the law constantly. Now they're getting a juvenile record and all this other stuff. Then they can proceed past that. That goes between 18 and 20. Why? Because it doesn't matter because it's in the thing and they may age out. But once again, there's states that go beyond the age of 18. It's like, hey, it's over. Your authority's gone. They're 18. They've aged out. Oh, well, we're going to check. No, that's not the way it works. But then we talked about how it proceeds there to where it goes to the jails. Now, somebody found, and this guy's smart. I mean, he's pretty neat. When he took and did this, particular thing. He's talking about Taylor Farms. Now, if you don't know about Taylor Farms is using the people that are in the prisons, privately owned prisons, to make a profit. They're only paying them so much and pocketing the rest of the money. Well, let's watch the video. Yeah, blow your damn mind. And these kids probably all started out in CPS. 80 to 90% of those people working there, and it's slavery. Slavery never died. They just hid it better. Check this out.
Why Taylor Farms didn't want their name in the news, and why the federal government was so quick to say, oh, it was an accident, it was a false positive. Look here, folks, slave labor. They've got a Department of Corrections contract in Arizona where they're paying inmates $1.25 an hour. But guess what? The Department of Corrections in Arizona, they're getting $4.75 per person per hour. Folks, you can't make this shit up. This is slave labor. If you've never been in jail, you have no idea what I'm about to tell you. You will do anything to get out of that place. And you will do anything to get commissary money, because they feed you food that is not fit for human consumption. I'm just going to lay this out right away. Taylor Farms, I will never buy another one of your products ever again. I mean, look at this, folks. Look at this. And tell me this doesn't look like modern day slavery. I'm fucking over it. Well, now we know why Taylor Farms didn't.
Uh-oh. They're always going to find a way, even when you cover them with evil. They're always going to find a way to work around. And you'll understand some of that with some of my filings and some of the comparisons I did. They're finding, and they're getting away with this. Pocketing this money that when they're only supposed to, this is why these should not be for profits. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to there, you're going to have to look into Bill King. You're going to have to look into after the age of 18, who it goes to, and then anything else, and that you can actually do a waiver. I don't know if you're paying the state or the once again, if the state's bringing this against you, you're paying the money against the state. That's a conflict of interest. This is why we're trying to tell you about Article 3, Section 2, Clause 2. They can't hear that case, and that's where you just turn around and go, "Hey, red flag! You're adjudicating to benefit yourself." That's a huge conflict of interest. Well, no, and that's definitely something to escalate to a higher court, because once again, that's somebody saying, "I'm going to get into power, and I'm just going to get into your bank account." That is tyranny. That is 100% tyranny. And that's why we're trying to educate you guys, because like I said, as these questions come out, you guys have the right, like I said, they make these decisions, like, the first constitutional question. That is correct. They never had jurisdiction. That means for over 30 years, go get your damn kids. Just that simple. Even by force, as the Constitution says you have the right to. Give me my damn kids. This was unconstitutional. You all kidnapped. You all committed a criminal act. This has been come out. And like I said, I expect a lot of people to rise up, once again, exercise, their constitutional rights, and, go down there and with force, if needs be, going, here, I'm presenting this to you. Give me my kids. If not, you're now a tyrant. Now we have, under the Declaration of Independence, we have the right to overthrow and remove you by any means necessary. And you put it on the record. Hey, I've done my due diligence. I want them. Give it back under this. No, we're not playing games. I want them back now. Null and void. Here it is. Because we cover all of it. And that's what they're scared of. That's why everybody's going, oh, well, no, that means everybody involved in all those cases now is looking at criminal charges, from the CPS worker to the CPS attorney to the CPS directors of all 50 states, to the judges, to the magistrates, and all that. Why? You put on a show and stole children and didn't do shit. And we got a few other constitutional questions there, but I'm not going to pop the bubble because they're going to hate it. Just that simple. Trust me. So they're going to look at that. They're going to turn around and they're going to go, argh. Yeah. Yeah. Once again, that's cruel and unusual. Once again, look at the Eighth Amendment of that. That is definitely cruel and unusual punishment, especially if you're trying to, bad car accident, whatever. I'm learning to walk again. I can't this, I can't that. That's cruel and unusual. You can't demand something from me. A matter of fact, you took my kid. Yeah, maybe something else happened, or maybe somebody's spouse dies in that car accident, and you're trying to do this and that, or we're going to get you. No, that's cruel and unusual punishment. I mean, you're going to do that on top of that. I mean, put that before a federal jury. I guarantee you the sympathy is going to be with you if that's the case. 100% of going, oh my God, why would you do that? That's cruel. Here they are trying to walk again, trying to get their life after all these different things they said. And we had a parent die, and you're going to snatch their kid. What about going to a family? And once again, you have to pick apart their policies, procedures, and codes and statutes in that state that pertain to those things. Do your research and find out where they screwed up. Take them to federal court. Oh no, this is a problem. And if it's that bad with a lot of things like I did, I filed a Rule 60 and they thought, well, it's fine, we'll just ignore it. Freaking retards. Hell no. Yeah, stupid. Now, guess what? I filed that as one of my exhibits in my federal case. Oh no, now they're ignoring this to overturn it. Under Rule 60, there's no statute of limitations. Well, this is appeal. No, it's not. It's a Rule 60 saying you massively screwed up. Now what? Oh, we're not going to admit that. Matter of fact, we're going to have our buddies cover at the appellate level and all. Oh, yeah, I got them by the short and curlies. And if somebody asks what state I'm in Tennessee. So, like I said, this stuff needs to stop. Once again, it was lies. It was manipulation. Matter of fact, it goes a little bit deeper on a few different aspects. But like I said, we'll save that for the trial because I got a lot of cards up my sleeve that they don't have a freaking clue. They're just that stupid and ignorant. Why? Because they didn't do their job. Had they had done their proper job, like in my case, you would have never touched me had you had done your due diligence. But one of the other questions we deal with, you know how your state weaponized CPS? Did you know that was unconstitutional? Because they took those powers from a duly elected sheriff. That is treason. That's taking away the power of you and I's vote that we go into. Huge no-no. Nobody's caught them. Why? This is why you guys can't find lawyers to sue the hell out of them. Civil rights attorney. Why? Because they hold some of that bar card. So, I mean, you talk about some of the bullshit. It's crazy. What happens when the appellate courts are in agreement with CPS? Are you talking state or federal? Because usually they're going to side with CPS because, like I said, usually when people write them, they don't write them the proper way. And that's a huge thing because then you got to follow your state's rules of civil procedure. And like I said, the state can't answer anything to do with constitutional rights violations. You're in the wrong court. That's federal court. They don't have jurisdiction. That's what a 1983 is for. Ask them, go through it. Hey, this is what happened to me. Is this constitutional? You got to keep it clean. So like I said, there's a lot of people that are doing it. And I got a lot of people watching from other groups and other things to where they're just, like I said, you can't come up with an original idea themselves. Once again, hey, well, we do this. Well, I'm getting ready to release all this other stuff. Oh, well, we could use it in our movement. And I go, once again, stealing somebody's fucking idea. Once again, it's not helping you personally. Piss off. There's the thing. Do your own damn research. Why? Because it's not going to, once again, the way I wrote it doesn't apply to anybody else's case. Once again, go ahead, use it, and you're going to look like an idiot. And they're going to laugh you right out of there. And that's a huge thing. I'm pro se sui juris, Donna. No. I went through and tried to find a understanding. When you do a federal civil rights attorney, you can go in any state. You can find anyone you want in any state. It does not have to be in your state because you're in federal court. So you got to find somebody that'll take it. I went through that thing, and you know what they did? They screwed me, took my money, and there was a crook. Matter of fact, I believe there's a federal lawsuit against that attorney that's I believe, on the run or been hiding, because I wasn't the only person they took advantage of. There's some really shitty people out there. And this is why a lot of people take and don't trust a lot of this or a lot of that, because once again, what are the results? Where are you going? This and that. We're fighting the big fight. We're not fighting at the local level. I'm not in state court. I'm completely done with state. Everything I've had to do has been done. I've met all those requirements. Now I'm escalating. Now we're going to the big boy court. Unless it was a jurisdictional issue, then you can escalate it to a jurisdictional issue because of the jurisdiction. Finding an attorney, listen, I ain't found one. Let's put it that way. And I looked high and low for a couple years, between the death of, because I was sick. So I was under 88 right there of saying, you can't put me on a time frame. I was literally going through heart failure and everything else that was going on, which you also added to and caused that, which is almost attempted murder. Yes, I am pro se sue juris. So pro se means I'm representing myself, and sue juris, and that is a claim of saying one of we the people is basically what it's saying. We also have whistleblower status and False Claims Act on our filings, the original filings, so on and so forth. So there's a lot there. And like I said, it's not as easy as most people put on it. A lot of people fail because they just don't listen. Or they do their own thing, or they get their emotions, and then you read it and you're like, oh God, here's all the drip, drip emotion and all. Oh my God, that I have trouble sleeping at night and I have that. That is not the place for that. That's for in the court before a jury, if you so choose a jury. That's not meant to go in your filings at all. And the amount of people that do that is crazy. They filed, it was granted, and they still filed contempt for the time granted in the motion to suspend. So you got a motion to suspend, okayed, and then contempt. That's a conflict. Once again, that's something you need to, once again, your options are to do a writ or a mandamus, whatever fits in the appellate court, of saying, this is a conflict of interest and somebody's a dumbass. You approved it, but then you filed me in contempt for doing it? That don't make no sense. Once again, these are the things that you catch of just foolish things of like, we're going to do this, but we're going to hit you with this. Why? Because they know you're not an attorney. And half of these lawyers and attorneys don't even have a freaking clue what the hell they're doing. They are just, once again, they are for the state. They're, all this, they're going to get all their buddies. They party with these judges and GALs and all this other stuff on the weekend. They go to their things, they go to their parties, their birthday parties and all this other stuff. And sometimes you guys got to do, yeah, that's bullshit. I can't appeal. Yeah, turn around and do that and put that up to your state appellate court, if that's where you're at, and put all that stuff in there, especially if you have an imprinting that you can't. That is a huge violation of due process, because you have every right to appeal. And if they say no, take that shit right into federal court and go, look at these fucking assholes. That's a huge due process violation. Listen, you have to stay with our ruling. You can't fucking overturn it. You can't appeal it. That's not the way due process works, dipshit. And if that judge is incompetent, once again, file a complaint on the judge and everything else with it. That is also your option. And once again, but make sure you're articulating the right words of, once again, judicial canons. That this judge violated judicial canon. This zone violated the Constitution here, here, and here. Give it all there. Was the girl's man? It took my 50 years. Okay, so Bill King, so they gave them to the mother of your children got them, or your mom got them? The one that passed away, was it? So that was like your this and that. So yeah, it going over here, this and that. Once again, they should have done a custody and judgment, but they're supposed to have mercy on the court of saying, well, you can't, well, at least bring them up here where they can visit. Yeah, that's crazy. Same judge spent the whole hearing of my buddy's custody hearing talking about. So once again, put all that stuff, get it on paper, subpoena that. Let the let the federal court know that, hey, go over to this hearing of this case versus this case on this date. Subpoena those things. You can do that in federal court. Hey, and you can let the judge know even in your initial thing. Hey, upon discovery, when we get to discovery, I'm going to do this because this was said over here. That is, once again, a conflict of interest. And, to go through that, and then how it all, you're going to have to look at the timeline and everything else. Did he say it before the case was over? If not, that judge is, now you're going to move to make it null and void that ruling. Why? Because there was a conflict of interest before the ruling. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there like that. And, but like I said, follow on, I'm going to try on the video. And, oh, it was redact. Okay. So once again, the only thing they're supposed to redact is, instead of using kids' names, they're supposed to use initials. They can't redact anything else. Matter of fact, that's also, if they've redacted it complete where you can't see nothing, then yeah, that's something to go to the federal court of. Yeah, they redacted everything. You can't do that. That violates the rules of civil procedure. Like I said, on everything, they can do initials. You can give initials. You can have certain things you got to look at, but unless they give a justification of why they redacted it, oh, well, nope, that doesn't work. Well, like I said, some of these things you guys are experiencing is the states are going to cover the state's ass, because that's their cash cow. Because most of the states run on that title, of that reimbursement of Title IV. Like some states, it's 60% of their budget. You cut that out, they can't function. Why? We're going to take this up. We're going to starve you. Now you're going to watch it go, well, we can't do that. Well, shut it off. But like I said, the easiest way to do some of this is, is look at it from a criminal aspect, and that's how you file some of the civil. It is the easiest way to do it. I hope that's helped you guys. To be honest with you, I'm a little tired, and I've still got a few things that are to do. So we're going to kind of cut us a little short tonight, unless Darren wants to come in. I think he's hanging back there or whatever. Have a few here, but I'm just kind of burnt. I've still got some work to do. So guys, follow me on Facebook. If you don't follow me on Facebook, we'll be taking and releasing those constitutional questions once they're filed. And yes, constitutional questions have to be mailed out to your state attorney general and to the U.S. attorney generals, because then they're all going to pay attention and going, how's the court going to roll? So keep that in mind when things are going down. And hopefully you guys have a great day, a great week. Hope that gives you some help as far as where we're going. But like I said, right now, we got to stay focused on this case, and we're trying to help you guys. I try to do it the best I can, but right now I got to focus a little bit more on my case and a few other things and get some things filed this week. Because it's just timely. Like I said, you can't sit around. There are times you do have a breath and you have time, and there's other times, well, you just don't. And that's just the way it is. But anyway, guys, thanks for joining us. Join us again next week. We'll probably have a little bit longer show. And don't forget to catch us next week. Like I said, I'll get that information to where hopefully we can get that out to you to where you guys can join us next week. The constitutional questions should be released this week. That's a huge, huge thing. And you guys are going to want to take in and read those things and say, oh, well, how does this fit for me? Trust me, it's going to open your eyes. Because you don't realize how bad it is. But once you look at these filings of saying how unconstitutional this is or that is or that is, that's enough. Once again, if it's unconstitutional, fruit from a poisonous tree automatically applies. Remember that too. Once these come back and yeah, that's unconstitutional, that's fruit from a poisonous tree, you have to. If you don't, that's a huge problem. Now this is tyranny. It's on Gunning for CPS is the Facebook page for the show, and then my personal one is Gunner Evers. I'll probably release both of them on both channels, just to let you guys know. And then I'll find out a way to make sure you can flip through them or upload them or somehow. Somebody's been doing it, so I'll figure it out. You just have to give me some time. But guys, thanks again. Have a great week. Don't forget to piss off somebody with your knowledge and education, but also remember this: love on somebody, give them encouragement, and give them hope, and tell them about what's going on with the reckoning and what this case is doing. And we have the constitutional questions that could change everything. I mean, for everybody, almost overnight. Thanks again, guys. Have a great week. And don't forget, piss somebody off, get in those books, educate yourself, and stand strong and take some time for yourself too to recoup. Have a great week.
Stripped away, they profit off trauma, 9 turns today. But we got the tools, the app in our hand. The CPS Punisher across the land. A murder built in, Palsy runs a crew. DG Enterprises coming straight for you. Stay calm, CPS is coming, read the page. You dropping truth on every stage. No more kids in cages, no more broken homes. We're auditing the system, exposing every drone. From Maine to the heartland, the fire's been lit. This is for Nina, for every child they have.